All right. I think a bounce is coming up, and I think it could be a very large bounce. And tonight I'm going to do a very quick episode on why I think this is the case based on the price action. And the first reason is we're looking at TLT, and I told you just last night, this was a very important market to watch because this is the bond market. And what the bond market is doing here is very important because it is changing the rates real time as the bond market is moving. And right here, we are seeing the bond market stall out below the 200 daily moving average. And you can see if we were getting this rejection, we could come all the way back down towards this range at 90. And I talked about this being the Goldilocks zone last night, which I personally think will be the most bullish scenario for the stock market if the bond market just sort of sits around here in this range. So watch this closely, because if I am correct and TLT just bounces between 90 and let's call it 92.4, I do think this is really just giving us a Goldilocks scenario where we have the lower rates that the stock market will like, and then we don't have the fear of money pouring out of stocks and then jumping into bonds. And overall, I think this is going to be a perfect recipe for a very healthy bounce. And on SPY, I'm giving you that projection here from this 200 daily moving average all the way up to about 594. And I do believe this could happen before the end of the week or very early next week. And this is a very tradable bounce because it's extremely easy to manage risk down here at the 200 daily moving average. You have plenty of room here to give this time to run without taking on too much risk, and then plenty of reward to the upside. So we always talk about having high reward for low risk and high probability. And I do think this fits both of those, with a very healthy bounce off of a very strong support zone and level of interest into a very nice profit taking zone into the 590s. So watch this level right around SPY 570 all the way up to 573. And then I'm looking for a break through 584 into the 590s, and that's where I'll be looking to start locking in some profits. So focus on that. If we start to break down, you'll see it very clearly through price, and then you can manage risk accordingly. But I think there's a much higher probability that we're going to see a bounce. Even if we are going lower at a later date, I think we need to get this bounce regardless. On the NASDAQ 100 triple Qs, we were down 0.3% today, and we had extremely high volume on a green day, which means we closed higher than we opened, even though we were lower on the day. There was definitely lots of buyers in this zone, and last night I talked about the same bounce scenario where we would likely come down towards a gap fill and a test of a rising 200 daily moving average. And then for here, I think I was a little too optimistic about the bounce, but I'm looking for a bounce at least towards 516. So a critical resistance zone will be up there between 510 and 516. And again, this is a very short-term minded trade with a high probability, a low risk, and a high reward. So this is one of my favorite types of trades. And this will be right off of a rising 200 daily moving average and very critical support zone, which is right around 488 to 493. Keep in mind, this is a zone of support. We don't need to bounce off of any exact number to a penny. This is where buyers are looking to buy, and I think the sellers would be a lot higher, above 510 to 516. So those are my ideas for tonight. I think they're very simple trades to understand. They are a little bit counter trend, so if they go against your risk tolerance and you don't want to try to catch a falling knife, that's completely understandable. But I do think there's a very high probability this is going to play out in the coming days. So watch for it. You have the clear price action levels to pay attention to, and you can always hammer down into smaller time frames and watch the price and manage risk to wherever you see fit. If you want to come trade with me, the best way to do that is TSC Trade Alerts, where you get the exact buy and sell alerts that I'm taking for the percent allocations of the TQQQ and the SQQQ. You can find out how to join by clicking on the link in the description of this video. So thank you for watching, everybody. Now go crush this market.